The SABC turns 84 today. The public broadcaster was established in 1936. It has played various roles over the decades, including during the tumultuous apartheid period. However, the SABC has evolved into a modern multimedia public broadcaster. To talk to us about this important milestone, we joined now via Skype by the Group Executive of Corporate Affairs and Marketing at the SABC, Gugu Ntuli. Gugu, good afternoon to you, and I suppose a happy 84th anniversary to us.
Yes, thank you very much, Palisa. It's good to be here today.
Thank you so much indeed. So, the public broadcaster turning 84 today, what has the SABC achieved over the years?
Palisa, when you've been around for 84 years, really, you've been through the highs and the lows. And you've mentioned that we were established in 1936, and we were initially a radio broadcaster, state-owned. But from the 1950s, we started to see commercial radio stations such as Springbok Radio starting to emerge. We only started to introduce African language radio stations in the 60s, although we had in the 40s broadcasts that were propagating the war, the World War II, already being used in Zulu, Xhosa, Sotho, and Tswana. So I think initially, of course, we were focused on radio, but from 1976, we started to see television being introduced to the SABC. And over the years, we have really had quite a lot of achievements. One of which is the SABC News. It's a wonderful story for the broadcaster. SABC News just turned 70 last month. And this entity really has built a great deal of credibility, not only in South Africa but globally for the organization. And through SABC News, we've won lots of accolades, but also have been recognized for our impartiality and the trust that the communities that we serve, the public that we serve, have on the SABC. Over and above that, there have been many other achievements. We've recently introduced a new turnaround strategy as an organization that focuses on a new way forward for SABC within the digital era and how the SABC must compete going forward. We've had many successes in terms of programs and television series, Vela P and Stumo over the years, and many very award-winning series. But now we need to prepare as a broadcaster for the way forward, and certainly digital is the way forward.
So as you say, Sis Gugu, that we've had our highs and lows as the SABC. You've touched a bit on the achievements that we've been able to achieve over the years here at the SABC. Let's just reflect a bit on the challenges from back then to where we are right now. Can you say that competition is getting a bit tougher and tighter in this broadcasting industry?
I think when we've been around for 84 years, as I've highlighted, you will have inevitably experienced lots of ups and lots of downs. But what I can say is that we are very excited about the learnings that we have had over the years that have enabled us to get to the point where we are now. As I mentioned, we've got a new turnaround strategy. And with the turnaround strategy, we've already started to see successes that are really indicators that we are on the right direction. For example, we launched this year SABC News channel. Sorry, not SABC News, but the SABC Education channel, which was a digital initiative that is servicing learners, school learners during this lockdown period, where many of them have not been able to access schooling. So something like this, for example, is really an indicator of where the organization is going. Just today, we will be streaming for the first time on our own SABC Sports portal the FA Cup final. Again, focus really is how the SABC meets its mandate to educate, to inform, and to entertain its public by providing universal access, so that whether you are sitting in the middle of Bisho or you are in Limpopo, you can access SABC content through your phone or through a laptop. You don't even need a television screen.
So you've touched a bit on the SABC's mandate, which is to educate, to inform, and also to entertain. How does the SABC ensure that it remains relevant, so to speak, and perhaps people orientated? Because I would believe that viewers and listeners would love to hear news and events that affect them directly. So how has the SABC been able to maintain its relevance in these 84 years of its existence?
Well, Palisa, in 2004, we had editorial policies that were developed for the organization, effectively to ensure that the content that we provide to our public is not only relevant but credible. Through that, we have a framework within which content will be provided. And so also that also talks to the independence of content from news, for example, independence and also impartiality. These editorial policies were recently reviewed and relaunched to the public, again, just last month. And so I think with the guidance of the editorial policies, we will remain relevant as an organization, but we will also be actively looking forward to how the industry is changing and adjusting accordingly.
And I think the question now is really, how has the SABC fared during this COVID-19 pandemic? Looking back, how have we done?
It's been difficult for every organization, I think, and every industry across the globe. COVID-19, certainly, I don't think we prepared ourselves for what was to come. However, again, I have to focus on the positives here. SABC News was at the forefront of communicating the developments of this pandemic to the public, right from the first case that was identified in China. And throughout the period, we have actively played a role in keeping the public informed by adjusting our schedule also on free-to-air channels to ensure that we make accommodation for the president's announcements on a regular basis. As I mentioned also earlier, that we have intensified our offering of curriculum education to our learners, because we know that it's been very difficult for many. We have actively supported the Solidarity Fund, and that's an entity, obviously, that is geared towards raising funds to ensure that we have protective gear for all our frontline workers, particularly in the health industry. But no doubt, it has impacted the organization somewhat, particularly because when everything is closed, people are not consuming, people are not working, and effectively, advertisers are reluctant to advertise as much as they did. Fortunately, we are seeing a change, and things are opening up a little bit, and I think that we can only look forward going from here on. But certainly, we have played a massive role as the broadcaster in keeping the public informed during this period, and also encouraging people, that we are all in this together, that they must take the necessary precautions to protect themselves. It has been a difficult period for all.
So the fourth industrial revolution is literally on our doorstep. So how ready is the SABC?
As I mentioned earlier, we've got this new target operating model, which is effectively helping us to implement the turnaround strategy. And a major focus, one of the major pillars there, is digital. Digital has got to be centered to what we're doing, because that's effectively how the world is moving. Because of more available platforms on digital, there's a lot more competition. And so the SABC has to be a player there. Currently, we're the biggest broadcaster on the continent, and certainly we want to maintain that by not losing sight of the importance of the digital space. So we have got an OTT strategy that is being aggressively pursued, and certainly over the next couple of years, we're going to see SABC really play a major role in the digital space.
So I wanted to ask about what's in for the future for the SABC. Any exciting projects perhaps in the pipeline for us?
I mentioned earlier that, we are streaming our FA Cup final this evening from our own portal. Again, we anticipate that this is going to start being the norm for the broadcaster. Not only that, we continue to want to develop content that is really appealing to our audience. Remember that the SABC is central in the media industry in South Africa. From a radio perspective, we have 19 radio stations that occupy 72% of the market. Therefore, our artists really rely on us and make sure that their music is played for their survival. On the same end, from a television perspective, the production industry relies on us to ensure that we can commission content that we can provide to our public that they want, but also support the industry to grow. So I think that we will continue to play a major role in growing the industry, but also gearing ourselves up to ensure that not only the platforms that we use, but the content that we provide as the SABC is targeted at the public that actually requires our services.
All right, that's where we leave it, but it's very sad because due to the COVID-19 protocols, we can't have that cake cutting a moment.
Absolutely. It is what it is, but we encourage everybody to send birthday wishes, because I think it is something to celebrate. As I said, it is a really wonderful day for South Africa. This major institution is celebrating 84 years. We hope to be here for another 150 years to come.
Yeah, and we can't even toast to the 84 years that has been for the SABC. But yeah, that's where we'll leave it. Sis Gugu, thank you so much for coming through. And I suppose all the best to the SABC going forward.
Thank you, Palisa.
Thank you so much indeed. Well, there you have it. That's Gugu Ntuli. She's a Group Executive of Corporate Affairs and Marketing for the South African Broadcasting Corporation. The SABC turning 84. So please send through your messages to us at SA_SABC. Would really, really love to hear from you. How do you feel about the SABC since its establishment back in 1936? The SABC turning 84 years today. Your memories, fond memories. What would you like to see? Your best wishes, as Sis Gugu has just said, at SA_SABC. We are really looking forward to hearing from you.